So I don't think I have a video of me actually explaining what's going on in this tank here. Um, I don't want to have one on Instagram or anything, so might as well explain what's going on. So this is pretty much a aggressive community tank. The only exception for aggressive critters would be the mollies. They're not aggressive at all. Exactly what I was going for, I got pretty much. It worked out really well. So obviously the angelfish are to be mid-top level swimming fish meant for just aesthetics. They're incredibly beautiful. I was lucky enough to get two of the exact same kind, and then one similar koi marbled angelfish, similar to what clay looks like, just not as much black. So that's awesome. They're all getting together, but he's the dominant angelfish in the tank, kind of bullies everyone all around, which is fine because he doesn't actually cause any damage. After I got the first set of angelfish, I became very interested in the clown loaches there, like him and him. There's another one, but I'm not sure where it is. I absolutely love the way they look and their, well, I guess their anatomy, but more just the outside of their body. They're what's known as a scaleless fish. It sounds so weird saying scaleless. I don't know. Anyway, so they're a little more sensitive. They come from Burma, and they're absolutely beautiful. In a lot of the tanks we have these little snails here, and these are little pest snails, or pond snails, whatever people want to call them. And they'll breed like crazy. They pretty much get out of control. As you can see here, this is where I throw the little algae pellets for everyone in the tank to eat, and there's a mini mountain of them. They kind of just do their own thing. They're asexual, so they breed by themselves. So you get two of them pretty much and separate them into two separate tanks. Those tanks will fill up with snails. And they're not bad. Obviously, the snails just eat a lot, so it's no big deal. So the fun part about these guys is whenever I get too much of an overpopulation of snails, plop them right in here, and they eat them. When I first got these guys, they were very shy. In fact, I didn't even remember that I had them in the tank until one day I was cleaning the tank and they flew around. These guys are very, very good at hiding. If I can get a nice view for you, they have barbs in the front of their mouth. Those barbs, I hear them chewing on stuff all the time in the tank, in the corners and stuff like that. And they're extremely sharp. They actually almost poked me the first day I brought them back. I had them in a bag, and I was floating them, and I picked them up, and I put my hand underneath the bag to lift them into the tank, or I forget what it was, something like that. And he poked a little hole in the bottom of the bag trying to get my finger. So their barbs are pretty sharp. When they hide, they go into a tight crevice, and they open their barbs up so that they get stuck, to say the least. So I literally forgot I had them because they were so good at hiding, and then I realized, like, there's got to be a reason. They're just not comfortable. So I did a bunch of research and found out that tiger barbs are perfect tank mates. So I got 5 tiger barbs, 3 to start. 2 of them started to become best friends, and one was lonely. So I got 2 more. So I have 5 of them now. And the tiger barbs are obviously a lot more active in my tank, so I'm happy about that. They control the population, and they make them pop out a little more. So you can see the tiger barb swimming around with them because it's comfortable, because they have the same looks, same color patterns and whatnot. The little black molly here, I had a bunch of mollies in this tank, but they ended up getting their fins nipped because they were colorful and whatnot, and the other fish were attracted to that color. So they'd get their fins nipped and whatnot, so I completely separated them, put them into the baby tank, and they had babies. Now this black molly is a player, because she slept with, I guess, another fish in there, and they had babies, while the other fish actually had a mate. So this little, like, home wrecker got separated, and its babies are in here with it. So yeah, Since they have such dark colors, they're actually harder for the other fish to see, so the other fish won't see them as such an aggressive, challenge, and won't try and fight them or agitate them, chase them, anything like that. Happens every now and again, but it's last millisecond, it's nothing. So that's always fun. Another thing is trying to put the pest snails in. The clown loaches at first completely annihilated all the pest snails, and I thought I'd have enough to control algae growth, and they'd eat the debris and whatnot, but that didn't work out. So I needed to get something a little more hardy to make sure that the clown loaches didn't just annihilate my cleaning crew. So in a more aggressive community tank like this, my main concern are these little auto-sinkless catfish, because they're the best cleaners I've ever had in my entire life. Them or a Mano shrimp. Those are the two best in my opinion. I got 3 of these little guys in here. I'm definitely going to get more, but this is all I had right now in another tank. So, but I got these. Some crayfish. These are Australian blue crayfish. They're very small right now in this tank. I took out any larger ones because they were completely annihilating hundreds of dollars worth of plants that I'd be getting. So now we have beautiful plant growth in here. I got a separate substrate in that so that it would grow more plants. And the fish absolutely love it. So that's perfect. But the crayfish are incredible cleaners. Clean up every bit. They steal pellets when I throw them in there and everything. They're just great cleaners. So I highly recommend if you have more of an aggressive tank with no critters that are going to be feeding on the bottom too much, like the auto-sinklesses, they tend to stay a little bit higher up and in that container, so the crayfish can't get to them, which is absolutely perfect. But once the crayfish are full grown, I'm going to take them out so that they're not a risk to any fish. You just don't want any fish that have, really wavy fins and like to eat off the bottom. Kind of like angelfish. But, I don't know. Any crayfish I put in here have been pretty docile, so I'm pretty happy about that. That's pretty much the basics about this tank. I have one big bubbler for this tank specifically, with 2 air hoses attached, making 2 flows of air, 2, little bubbles, making enough breakage on the surface to create a high amount of oxygenation. And then here I have all the plants, because the surface isn't broken whatsoever here. So they have enough room to, since the flow is going kind of downward, it's kind of pulling the top of the water surface here, since the bubbles are also rising. So the force is going like that, and then like that. So constantly the flow of water is going to be heading this way, keeping the plants here, which is absolutely perfect because they're growing like crazy. Or multiplying, I guess I should say. These ones don't grow. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It took a little while to get like this, but I think not the plants, the flow thing was easy, but getting all the stuff, because wow, it's a lot of money. Yeah, that's about the basics of this. I have Mopane driftwood. I get the heavy Mopane driftwood because you just plop it in and it sinks. You don't have to wait for any type of specific driftwood to soak in any type of water so that it sinks to the bottom and whatnot. I've had to wait for this stuff to soak, but I plop it in the tank, most of it will sink, and a little piece will be floating. Next day it'll be plop, so it's pretty handy. So yeah, that's this, my main tank. This is the very first tank setup I ever had. And yeah, it's going pretty well.